Hello everybody, my name is Brandon Watts, and in this video I'm going to be taking you through how I was able to build into a position and in a matter of 2 weeks make a 14% total account gain for just over $1,200. Now, the trade itself, if played perfectly, made a total range of roughly 60%, but we aren't perfect, and I'm certainly not looking to try and make the perfect play. I'm only trying to make the best trade I can and also take what I can relatively safely. Now, I've played OCUL many times before, and before this trade, OCUL had actually been the number 3 top gaining stock I've traded so far year to date. This is what I knew so far. OCUL since the beginning of July had been building the support at $7 with a resistance at $9. It had tried to test the resistance area 3 times here before actually succeeding due to a price target increase before dropping back down the next several days, thus still holding $9 as a solid resistance that we can see here on this last attempt. After each attempt at resistance, the price still held between $7 and $7.50 range. I knew that if price holds that area, I could try to ride $8 to $9, which would be a 12.5% range to try to profit from. Now, moving over to my main chart setup, we can see here my first attempt was a failure, unfortunately. Quick overview of my setup. I have a 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, and daily time frame to help me make my decisions, as you never know when one time frame says to buy when another says to sell. So, moving to my top left 5-minute, we can see that I placed a few trades around what I thought to be a 7.8 support. The next day, this trade ended up breaking the supposed support, and I was out for a $40 loss, which is only 1% of my account. So day 1 and day 2 was a no-go. As you can see here on the daily chart, the next couple of days were all basically consolidation that held above the 7.5 support. Going into the 5-minute for those couple of days, you'll notice that every time the price came up over my 9 red exponential moving average, or EMA, as well as above the 25 purple EMA, I tended to buy and test out a few shares. On average, I was maybe scooping up anywhere from $100 to $300 worth of OCUL, keeping in mind my average full position is about $2,000 to $3,000 worth. You never want to go in too heavy at first, as you want to allow yourself enough room that you don't stop out too early. The bigger the position, the tighter the stop, so during this consolidation phase I only snatched up tester shares and built up my position just in case the price didn't hold above the 7.5 level, which you'll notice here on this day the price ended up coming down and dropping to 7.5 exactly. Now, the first day after the consolidation, as we start to get a push up, I like to add a few shares, though not too many. The reason being was that my average was at 7.81, and I really didn't want to wreck that by adding too much on top of it, so these extra few shares towards the end were really just for fun. Notice here on the 5-minute that I only added after the price held over the last resistance that it broke over, and even then I wasn't adding too many just in case that level later broke down in the day. The next day though is where things get interesting. OCUL at the open has a nice push up, so I add a few more shares to play with, now bringing my average to 8.01 with my now largest position ever at $5,000. Unfortunately though, this is the day Daddy Trump sent out a tweet right before the close of the day stating that the stimulus talks are over until after the elections, and all while this is happening, I'm out photographing a house, so I have no real idea of what is occurring to my position. Unfortunately, I came out on this day still up on the position, though down several hundred in the span of what was only 5 minutes. Not fun. Thankfully though, OCUL doesn't care about Trump and had other plans the next day. I woke up early to see that OCUL gapped up and is starting to push higher during pre-market. Looking around for news, I see that they released a statement that their third quarter product sales are up despite the pandemic from 5.8 to 5.9 million, which was the cause for the nice gap up. Right at the open, I took off 60% of my profits, which was at already 18% profit for the total position, once the price topped at 9.6, which was just below a previous resistance point at $10. From there, the price picked back up and I scooped up 150 shares, which is rather large for me, though armed with a day trade, I knew that I can pull out at any moment should things start to turn back on me. Thankfully, the price started to flag for the rest of the day and I added a few more shares into their close, up $1,200 for the day. Unfortunately, this next day though is where I started to make mistakes. Right at the open, OCUL starts to drop and I panicked sell from $11 to 10.17, which was a nice $200 dip. Then, as I saw that the price bounced off of $10 exactly, I started to rebuy back some shares. Then mistake number 2 happens. I accidentally sold my new position and used up my last day trade when using the active trader on Thinkorswim. At this point, what I am about to tell you shouldn't be replicated at home, kids. From here, I went on full tilt and said, F it. I'm going back in with no day trade, which I did and managed to save myself this last day while recouping all the losses and finally pulling full out of OCUL with the 1200 I made on the original push. Lesson learned, don't make mistakes. I'll see you in the next video.